Hi everyone, it's Beth Elizabeth from EG Designs, and it is week one, although it has been in the works for a bunch of months, but it's week one, video one of building my own pottery studio here in this very small space in my house. And so I just wanted to share the process as I go through sort of converting a space. What are all the things you should be thinking about, as well as the additional challenge I have in that this is a very small space. And what I'm looking to do is, I'm a stained glass artist, but I've been working with ceramics for a little over 3 years, I think. And I've been very fortunate to work in a wonderful ceramics pottery community in Portland, Maine, Portland Pottery, and shared space, but you have a lot of benefits that come with that, including working with teachers and ceramicists who have a wealth of experience and knowledge. So it's been a really positive experience for me working in a community space, but there are limitations to community spaces. And I'm sort of at that point where in order to grow my business, I need to have some more control, have my own space, and really be able to, throw 40 mugs if I want to throw 40 mugs and then have the space to deal with them. Ironically enough, in some ways, I'm ending up with less space here than I am at the studio. But the big difference is control as well. So I'll be able to control my kiln firings. I'll be able to put as much work in there as will fit, as opposed to sort of being in a community space, being a little bit at the mercy of what else needs to be fired and who's making those decisions. So there's a lot of pros and cons, and I think I'll plan on making a different pro and con video. There's also the financial side. So I do pay for my space and my clay at the community at Portland Pottery, but it's a different realm of startup expenses than starting my own pottery studio here in my house. Kilns cost a lot of money, wheels, upgrading my electric. There's a lot of considerations, having to deal with my own glazes, right? And having that output at the start here is something that I've had to plan out and think about. It's not as simple as just purchasing a kiln, or at least it's not for me. So I'll walk you guys through that as I go. Right now it is the last day of February. It's February 28th. And my kiln, I'm getting a scut kiln, and it is, because of the pandemic and due to manufacturing delays, it's taking longer to get them than usual, which is a positive thing for me since I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to show you the space in a minute. But I've got probably until May or June, so 2 to 3 months, maybe coming up on 4, depending on when that kiln gets delivered, to actually get everything in place and get myself organized. And one of the big things you'll see in this space is that it is currently being used for a lot of other things. And so again, part of this process is how can I make a space that's functional for the pottery and ceramic work that I want to do, but how can we also work that into our lives? So with that being said, this is sort of the start of week one, which means I've met with my electrician. I know that it's possible. My kiln will fit right here, and I'll show you the space. And I've ordered my wheel. It's actually sitting under my computer desk. Now comes the work of actually, okay, here comes the dog. I'm going to hope that he doesn't knock over the tripod as he comes into this space. How do I put it all together? And again, I'm working in really, really tight space, so it's not going to be ideal for what I want to do. So this is also sort of going to be a process of, if you're also looking to do a pottery studio, number one, I'll talk about all the things to consider. I'm going to let the dog out. And number two, what are some ways to optimize the space that you have? And I've done a lot of reading and research and looking at the way other people have their work set up and really sort of engaging in the community. So if you have any advice, any things that have worked for you, or if you have any questions for me as I go through this process, please just let me know, because it's going to be a journey and we're going to be working against some constraints that I just don't have any control over. And that's okay, right? This is the first step. And, you know, it's going to be a huge benefit to me. I still work full time, and certainly right now during the pandemic, I'm working full time from home, but I do have flexibility with work from home for my full-time job. And having this studio, literally 2 legs of the tripod are sitting in my dining room right now. So I've got this opportunity to maximize my time, as well as over time sort of lower those expenses and be able to build this ceramic business. So I hope you enjoy these series of videos. Hopefully every week I'll have some progress to show, although I think some weeks it will be more than others. The biggest part, and I'll show you in a minute here, is going to be the clean out, and that's going to rely on both my husband and I being available, and we work sort of different schedules right now, so that's going to be our biggest challenge in these first few weeks, is to get this place cleaned out and really determine what needs to stay in this space somewhere and what can go. The dog is watching me make this video. So one of the big pros of this space is the light, which is wonderful, but I'm gonna grab the camera and give you sort of a look around. It's also a limiting factor. This room, we call it our garden porch. It is where we do a lot of our pre-greenhouse garden work. We've got a greenhouse in the yard, but like this is where at this time of year we would start our plants. It's a little bit warmer in here in February than it is in the greenhouse. We live in Maine. It's very cold. So a lot of this space is used to dry flowers and keep our seeds and plant. And so what portion of that needs to remain in this space? And obviously it has to be limited just because of the space. But anyway, so many challenges, and I'll sort of walk through them week by week. Hopefully we see progress. And then by the time we get to June, hopefully that is the kilns in place and the wheels in place, and we're able to start really creating at a volume that I'm hoping to, and that will help improve and sort of further my vision in a way that the community space isn't allowing me to do right now. So with that being said, I'm going to grab the camera and I will show you around right now. Okay. Hilariously, the dog is confused about what I'm doing and he's just watching. My rose garden is right there outside, but here is the space. I'm going downstairs. I'm standing essentially in the middle of it. This is the end. The space is about 64, 66 inches wide. I can't remember right now. And it is long, and it is 85 square feet, which is not a lot of square feet. So what you see right now is the end where we will be putting the kiln. So essentially all that will go is the kiln, 18 inches from all sides. We do already have a vent that's behind our seed drying right now. So we'll be able to vent out. There will be a little bit of space here where we currently have our wood pile, which we've emptied out, for a little bit of storage and shelving. But you'll see this entire, so that's the kiln end. Then we've got windows, 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 which is lovely. And then we've got the other end, which is currently full of plant. It's got a sander in here, plant and other gardening and camping and outdoor. There's kayak gear there. Right now we're clearly using this for storage, and we're getting stuff done when we need to. We've got our camp stove there for when we lose power during the winter. And then we've got a third limiting factor, which is these stairs that lead into this garden porch area. You'll see my tripod set up there. And then there's this very small window that it sort of leaves here. So in terms of wall space, you're looking at it. There's a little bit of wall space there. The rest is windows. These are the windows into my home and our plants, which you can't really see right now. Our table is a work in progress. My sister just dropped off a stained glass lamp for me to fix. So this is the small space that I'm dealing with. There is water at the end that we're looking at. It's currently like a hose. There is a plug at that end. But we will be investing in a Diamond Core Tools sink, which does not hook up to our plumbing, to save our pipes, because that was a big concern we had at having this in our home. And then we will need to install additional plugs for things like the wheel and additional lighting. Right now we do have power in here and some lighting, but again, it is not super functional. There are skylights that only leak a little bit and that we'll be fixing this summer, but we've got a little bit of opportunity for maybe some super high storage for things that we don't use very often. But I think you can see from this video that we have to be incredibly creative, and we're going to have to create multi-function spaces. Like, for instance, I know that I'm not going to have a dedicated glaze table because there's literally no space for that. And so it's about creating a space where I can put can I put a folding table over my wheel during the times when I'm glazing? So those are the types of things I'm thinking through right now. I don't know if you can see me. I don't know how good this video is, but hopefully over the next few weeks, things will start to come together, and we'll start to see a studio uncover. So I hope you'll stay with me for the journey. Please ask me any questions if you have them, and follow me on Instagram and here on YouTube if you want to be part of the journey. So thanks so much. I will talk to you guys soon.